Welcome back to Advus After Hours, a podcast focused on the intersection of innovation, finance, and community. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Chef Mike Collantes, our own Michelin star chef here in Winter Park, at his latest concept, Bar Kada.
The genesis of this was us just having these conversations in pretty informal settings.
Right.
And we realized quickly was there's a lot going on in Orlando that people don't talk about enough. And I think you're a great example of that, where Michelin guide comes to Florida and Soseki wins one of the first Michelin stars in Central Florida. And it's a local restaurant and it's not necessarily out by the attractions, I Drive, Sand Lake Road. So it's right here at home. So maybe just kick it off with what the experience has been through that process and until now.
Oh, just go right into the meat and potatoes.
Well, we'll go back. We'll go back in history, but I mean that's top of mind.
No, that's top
you.
of line. What was it? So we're 2024. So 2021, Michelin comes to Orlando, and I remember that timeline so well. We opened in 2020, like March 2020. We opened in the midst of COVID. Right. No one wants to go to, let's go to an intimate 10-seat restaurant in the middle of COVID.
Right.
So that was interesting. And then by November, Michelin's come to Florida. I mean, which who would have thought? Yes, I get it. Visit Orlando, visit Florida. We did pay to get into it. It is a pay, to bring them through, right? It's a business like anything else,
Right.
but you still got to earn it. Michelin's been around for over 120 years, since like 1900s. 1901 or something like that. It was like one of the first Michelin, and it's the most well-regarded travel guide. The Michelin Tire Company did it so that they could sell more tires as they're going through France, and now it's one of the most well-regarded guides. So just that backstory of what it takes to, did you pay? Do you vote? No.
Right.
They come in. You don't know when they're coming in. They inspect you, and 2-3 times a year, whatever it is. And you just have we always say as a chef, you live and die by your last meal. You just have to be on point. You have to be consistent. And by 2020 November, they announced it. Said, it'd be great to go for it. Secretly inside, I'm like, if I don't do this, so we have to. But that wasn't what we did that was never like the point.
I'm glad you touched on too what the Michelin star is and the story of how it came about, because so many people are confused by it. Why is this tire company doing
love
this?
It. Yeah, they're like, who cares about a tire company? I know what I like. I go on Yelp.
Right.
I'm on TripAdvisor.
Right. It makes so much sense now, though.
Is it end all be all? No, but there is some weight to it. They've broken it down to, some important key points. As a young chef, that was really something that was a benchmark for me to find. I could try to find the best restaurant in town, or you could say, hey, there's a 3 Michelin star restaurant. I want to work there. I want to grow there. And it's boot camp. It really is boot camp. So that happened. And then by April, we get the first year, it was in June. Man, it was June 2021. We opened this restaurant, 10-seat restaurant. Not, it is fine dining. It's multiple courses. Our first chef de cuisine decided we are going to change our menu every 30 days. Exactly. Since then, we haven't repeated a dish, over 300, 400 plus restaurants documented that we kind of ran throughout our season here at Soseki. Signature dishes are boring.
I was going to say,
talk a little bit about why you change it so frequently.
Well, just how rare that is too.
And I'll say this, right? If you're going after Michelin stars, the one way that you want it, like if you had to pick a strategy, is not to change your menu every 30 days and like test it on guests. That's not really a great strategy. You hold on. That's why you see signature dishes, because it's like tried and true. One great chef, Marco Pierre White, said, going after a Michelin star is like you're on offense, man. You're just trying to get some points on the board. You're going after it. A strategy is to just play defense and hold back and retain that star. And we just wanted to keep pushing. So business was business. We just kept with it. I mean, I tell this story all the time. There are moments, especially we are walking into the week of the Michelin event on a Thursday, and we'd have reservations on the Sunday for 2 people, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not bad. 20%. We do the math, but 2 people is 2 people.
It's better than a lot of places, but
not when your staff is like basically a 1-to-1, 10 people to 10.
Right.
10 staff members. Michelin happens, and we're getting into summer. We're super, fearful of what that's going to look like. Michelin happens, and then you're booked for 8 months straight.
Unbelievable.
And everything kind of from that was like the catapult, the thing that kind of says, yeah, you put the hand on the plow for this long and then it pays off. We talked about it too. Some people are like, wow, what an overnight success. 1 year. I was like, yeah, just 23-year overnight success.
Exactly.
Right? That's all it took.
Building your craft for that long,
right,
and putting in that kind of work looks like overnight, but it's really decades, as you mentioned, of putting in that work, and all of a sudden you get recognized for it. And you go from, having a couple of people a night to all these opportunities open up.
And you nailed it. It's a craft. We're not artists back there, right? We're not artists. You can be free and creative, and you have components of artistry in culinary, especially at this level, right? Where some places, and especially, you're not looking at TGI Fridays and thinking artistry,
right?
But at some level, there's something of creating a dish. But I think that it's a craft that has to be curated over time, and you just have to continue to work on being better at your craft, right? You don't start; it's a learned thing, right? It's woodworking and things of that nature. There's artistry to it, but you still have to put your hand to the plow.
Right. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit. We'll talk more about Soseki and all the opportunities that are coming your way now. But not only is this one of the only Michelin star restaurants, Soseki, in Orlando, but only one in Winter Park. You're from Winter Park.
Yeah.
You're initially from New Jersey. So kind of walk us through your initial path, and then we'll talk about how you built your craft a little bit.
We don't talk about the dark times in New Jersey. Where all great sushi chefs are born.
Right.
No, families, migrated to this country, and my mother and father were, typical, went to New York, NYU, went for, the work in the city, had a family in the burbs, and then ultimately in the late 90s came over to Florida for the golf and the weather. And we landed in Winter Park. My father went into real estate, and he got the one of the crummiest houses before Winter Park as we know it, and Windsong and all these things right there on Mizell, and all of it just popped off. And he had a real estate firm right there in Winter Park on Park Avenue off Welborn. Yeah, so we grew up here in Winter Park. We didn't really. Then we saw all of the changes happening in those early 2000s. Decided Winter Park for the family. Left for about 10 years, a little bit over 10, 15 years, and traveled and worked for some amazing chefs around the country. Joel Robuchon in Las Vegas, Eric Ripert in Philadelphia, and Masa Takayama, who's the only 3 Michelin star chef in the country for sushi.
Okay.
And I ran his restaurant at the Aria Casino. And then ultimately, my wife and I, my now wife, who, was my girlfriend at the time, I got married, went to Hawaii, opened a couple restaurants there. And then we wanted to come back and raise our family here in Winter Park.
Yeah,
so we've been here about 10 years.
Best home base for that, and now you're having so much success too, and in your businesses. But you work for so many incredible chefs along the way. I mean, Robuchon, does he still have the record for most Michelin stars? I think. Did I read that?
Man. It's I don't keep up as much, but I think he's still up there as one of the chefs with the most Michelin stars in the world. It was definitely one of the most when I was with him, over 23 Michelin stars, and to have that legacy. I remember that one of the greatest moments when I did win that Michelin. One, we closed the restaurant, and I told the team to just, hey, go to the lobby bar, just get dinner when it's, because they only invited me and my wife to it. And I said, screw it. You guys just sneak in. And we just snuck the whole team in because they're already there. And it was the best moment to be. And we just all ran up the stage together. So it was one of the most incredible moments. And one of the second ones, professionally anyways, having my chef, that mentor chef that literally was just a complete animal in the kitchen. He was probably the best palate to this day, I think, of any chef I've ever worked for. He was just insanely good, but also insane. Being at that top level, they are pretty intense restaurants.
Well, you see it in all the shows and everything like that. Yeah, and you have experience with that.
I think those are played down, to be honest.
Really?
Like if you really saw how it was when I was going through it, I think it was pretty intense. And then to have him, text me from France and tell me like, hey, it's, great job. It's, and literally say it's your turn. It's your time.
Wow.
That was a really just weeping moment.
Wow.
Right.
Well, the whole moment.
You went to Valencia Culinary School, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you got in with Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah. So
What's the story there? How'd you get in
starting out
there?
the career in Orlando? My very first job was in a very prominent Italian restaurant here in Orlando. I was in Winter Park, so I've always been on that fine dining stretch. It was at the Fashion Square Mall called Sbarro's.
Very fine establishment.
It was just we were just putting out good food, man.
That's awesome.
So shout out to give me that Sbarro's partnership right now.
Exactly.
Are they even still out there?
They're still out there, I think.
There's a few of them,
Yeah.
Nice.
That's Shamboli. Yeah. Started here. But my first like kind of real professional gig was working for Wolfgang. They hired me right away because like, oh, you do pizzas. Perfect.
Really?
Yeah. And he was really known
Awesome.
for pizzas. That got me my foot in the door. And then I ultimately got to the sushi bar where I learned under Chef Fuji, who is still to this day with Wolfgang at Sbarro, Maui, and was my first sushi chef mentor through it all. I was a little bit of a dirtbag kid, man. I was just like, you get into culinary, you get into chefing. It's like, I have nothing to do after high school and I just want to meet ladies,
Yeah.
and the industry was, I wasn't serious about it until I got to sushi and I saw the craftsmanship of it. I saw the artistry of it. Ended up, he left. They said, who wants to take over this position?
Right.
I raised my hand and, which is so crazy at like 22, opening my first restaurant with that group at the Morongo Casino in Cabazon in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And then got to do the Tennis US Open and start the sushi program there, which was so
cool.
crazy. It's like, but that's I guess what I'm known for is I just take every opportunity.
Well, I was gonna say is you act like they just gave it. I'm sure they didn't just give you that opportunity and seeing all the things you're doing, you're hustling so much.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was.
They saw how much hours I could do in a day and be like, hey, let's just give it to this
Right.
young kid who could keep up or something. But
Right.
it was blessing in disguise it just really propelled me to say, hey, I'm pretty serious about it. Yeah.
So how difficult was it learning that craft? Because it seems to be a very intricate part
Sushi?
of, yes.
I think in the early 2000s, it was really hard to get into the craft of sushi. It does help them like Filipino or like, Asian. In the beginning, I don't know, if you're from Florida for a long time or Orlando, Rangetsu was a Japanese restaurant there in on I Drive. That's like super traditional. It's like one of the first places I got to try blowfish and
Gotcha. Yeah.
really get, no one spoke English, everyone spoke Japanese.
Yeah.
It was incredible to spend some time there, and it really got my passion for like sushi. But even then, there's American style sushi, which just doing makis and just kind of like mass production, and that's all there was for a long time, or that I knew, until so then I left doing sushi and started doing more of like French cuisine and other cuisines.
Well, you mentioned blowfish. I saw that I think on your Instagram, and I've never had that experience, and it's like a whole, what do you call it again? I saw
Fugu.
Fugu, yeah.
Fugu, yeah. So I recently went to Japan for about a month, and through this 2-week, it was a 2-week program through Gohan Society, a great group from the owner of Korin,
Okay.
Japanese knife trading company, plateware, and basically the owner of Korin really wanted to create a program. It's been here for a few years that brings American chefs and different chefs from not even doing sushi, just chefs to really experience Japan in a really meaningful way. And this February, I got to go there, and see where sake's produced and miso, koji, soy sauce, see fish markets. And one of the programs that they had, and it's not like you just stay in Tokyo. We went to like Kanazawa and Osaka and Kyoto and got to really explore Japan. But one of the things that they had was to dine at basically just a fugu, just blowfish restaurant. This is such a prized fish that every part of it is utilized. So you think about, I do, multiple courses with different fish, like over 10, 12 fish. You have multiple courses with one central product for the whole thing, just blowfish. Then the next day, they allowed 2 chefs to go and to dispatch blowfish, which is, if everyone doesn't know, blowfish is super poisonous. Like, it's deadly. The different parts of the
Right.
blowfish, different parts of the anatomy, but really that liver is really poisonous. So once you dispatch the liver and some of the other things and the blood that someone could literally die from, they have to put it in a tin, lock it up, and it gets discarded in the morning by like professionals, because someone could like literally
That's
open
high
it,
pressure.
sneak it in your food, and like
It's literally life or death food right there.
We
That's
started out
unbelievable.
with 9 chefs, 8 of us returned, but we don't really like that guy, so it's all right. You have to be a master chef licensed to actually be able to sell and work with this particular product. I mean, you can buy it pretty much now, like you could buy it frozen and people actually have it, available. But to actually get my hands in there and do it was one of the best experiences.
That's amazing. And so you just mentioned too, Master Chef. Break
Yeah.
that kind of down for people that don't know.
Well, I mean, I hate saying master chef, but
yeah,
you have to be at a certain level,
right.
When I was breaking this fish down and there was just a little sliver, it looked like a little hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I cleaned it well. And he's, inspecting it and he's like, that could kill someone.
Wow.
That little piece.
Wow.
We will not serve blowfish.
Yeah. Don't
at
scare
any of the
anyone away.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are safe. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like do it one time, like, yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I got
Right,
this.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Send me 5 of them now.
Right. Speaking of your restaurants, take us back kind of here. We're actually sitting at brand new one opening tonight, Bar Kada. And run us through Bar Kada, Soseki, all of your different
We
brands.
have a ribbon cutting in like a couple hours.
Yeah,
and,
while you're having us in here, but thank
yeah,
you.
I'm not stressed at all.
Right.
No, but we do have such a great team. So Soseki is here right there in Winter Park. We're located off Fairbanks. I always say you blink and you miss us. You don't really see, and we kind of like that charm of it. But you walk into Soseki's hall lobby, and then there's a little door to the side where we opened up a small sake bar. Our first year getting Michelin, our second year, Benjamin Coots, who is our SOM here and the manager for all our operations here, Soseki and Bar Kada, won in the second year, like SOM of the year through the program he did with sake.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he lied on his resume, and he's been in the game for 25 years. It's amazing, but I don't think he knew as much as he led me to believe he knew about sake. But he's just one of those guys who will just die, and like he is going to learn his craft. The knowledge he has, I don't know anyone else doing a program in this in depth. And I always ask him, I was like, does it have to be this in depth? So you won't find sake bombs here. I'm sorry to say, we won't be pounding sake and Kieran. He's been in the wine business for 25 years, and he's just been such a great partner in all of this. And he's just put that level of dedication and passion to sake. Yeah, I think we have one of the biggest lists in Florida. Don't quote me on it, but it's pretty. I mean, I had to write the check, so I know it's pretty large.
I'm glad you cleared up the sake bomb.
Yeah. Because you guys usually drink on your podcast,
Right.
Yeah, it's a little early, but I mean, if you guys want to, no one's here.
Right, it's plenty.
We'll do
It's
it.
5 p.m.
Yeah,
Definitely not
Yeah.
8 a.m.
5 p.m. somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is opening tonight, and it's nothing to do with sushi, to be honest. Like the food here at Bar Kada, it means multiple things. Obviously, it's a sake bar, so it's bar and then kada. In Tagalog and Philippines, Bar Kada means your close friends. It's your close group, your homies. So we felt like this is just a small place that you could hang out with the homies.
That's cool.
And when we were conceiving this, we were like, hey, it's right next to Soseki. The space was an old bakery. We turned it into this. My sister and helped develop and design it all. So it's really meaningful for us, but also we just wanted a place where we could see people more.
I'm excited for y'all for this. This is going to be beautiful.
Yeah. And so the culinary program is done by Mike Vang, our chef here, who's been with Soseki and has worked all over. We went to high school together.
That's awesome.
Went to high school together, Winter Park. He's a chef here and like passion for local products, but also like he's just putting out great food.
Talk about your experience on Morimoto's Sushi Challenge. Was that before or after that was after the Michelin star, correct?
When I went on Morimoto Sushi Master, I've done a couple shows. They're pretty embarrassing.
I thought it was great. I thought you were hilarious.
So you never get used to that. I did a couple shows for Food Network and stuff, and that was, cool. I got a call to do this show, Morimoto, over Disney Springs, but also he's actually one of the reasons I got into sushi is like just this, bad A Iron Chef,
Yeah.
in high school, I'd watch Iron Chef and like at 2 a.m. when you get home and you're just like, oh, this is so rad.
Yeah.
And this guy made it look so cool. It was one of like my first omakase experiences, tasting experiences was at his Philly restaurant. But yeah, I got a call. I was like, you want to go on the show with Morimoto? I was like, absolutely. Like, let's go. We didn't get the Michelin yet. It was before that,
Okay.
and so going through the process, we get it. I go and film. We get it in June. I go film in August. And then immediately everyone's like, Michelin Mike, that's your new nickname. Oh, I beat out a Michelin star chef. So I'm like, oh man, this is not working out for me. But I did all right on the show. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. You
Right.
mentioned a little moment on the show
Yeah,
where
it was episode 1.
got a
It
little
was-
spicy.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, someone tried to try your rice, and you're like, absolutely not.
Pulled the knife on
You
him.
pulled the knife on it,
Yeah.
absolutely. The other question is, had you had won the Michelin prior to accepting it, would you have done it? Because that's a risk winning a Michelin star.
I probably would have. I should have said no, to be honest. You win the star, and it's just like, hey, let's just like ruin my career on a TV show, right? No, it's just.
Oh, you made it. Oh, actually, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Spoil it.
Made all right.
You didn't know you were Michelin Mike until you were there.
No, you're right. And it's and that show was an interesting one too, because I took it way too serious. Like, oh, it's just a fun. I was like, no, you guys saying you're bringing a competition show where I just won a Michelin star with my team, and I take this craft extremely serious. And then you bring a bunch of guys who may or may not know sushi. I mean, you could tell on you kind of see who knows sushi,
Right.
who doesn't. And it was their first go ahead at it. I'm sure they're signed up for season 2. I'm sure they're going to change it up a bit. Great experience nonetheless. I just love the challenge. I love to challenge to get to that level, challenge to see where I stack up against other chefs, the challenge to better myself. And then just saying yes to a lot of cool opportunities. Are you so worried about what everyone else thinks, or you just want to do cool stuff in your life?
Experience great things,
and see what happens? And I think that's really important. It's like, hey, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right. See where the cards freaking fly. Like, right.
I think that's great advice for people listening to this. And it's a lot of people that are into entrepreneurial endeavors and this community. And you put yourself out there already several times. And it's one things I wanted to talk about is people go to restaurants all the time, frequent on bars. Everyone's got an idea, but they don't do it. And it's an industry where it's like an 80% failure rate through the first 5 years of opening a restaurant.
Yeah, you don't tell me that. I'm reminded every day.
Right. But I'm sure you're very aware of all that and you still went for it. And so what's your process? How do you explain your success so far? And
so 3 years ago we opened Soseki. Last year, was that 2023 November, we opened Sushi Saint, a hand roll bar in downtown. I don't want to say downtown, Creative Village side. So the other side of downtown, not where the riffraff is. Hand roll bar / sushi lounge, and a more affordable and really casual omakase operation over there. That was November. This was March. We opened Bar Kada, a sake bar with food. And then I just last week opened up. This is our first week of taking guests at Sushi Saint, Long Island City.
Yeah, incredible.
In New York. I go off to Dubai and open up a beach club that I'm working with other partners in Dubai. And then we got a couple more projects in the works. It's crazy. I've got 2 young kids, and my wife tells me I am crazy. Very thankful, very blessed to have a very supporting wife. I think foundation is everything. I'm very fortunate that I have a team that supports the vision. I hate to say drinks the Kool-Aid, like I make decisions as an operator that don't always make sense financially or to make money, but ultimately help this team grow, help them through difficult times, closing in the middle of high season for Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And we get to all be with family. And there's these, I think having that North Star, that compass to say, hey, take care of the people that take care of you. You're not always going to do it right. There's plenty of people that's worked for me. I'll probably contest to I am a pretty intense kind of person, and once that chef coat comes on, but it all kind of, I always try to think holistically to the whole operation community that we're building of teams and chefs. And the awards, we've been talking about it on and on, is fantastic, but it's a byproduct of treating our guests well and treating our team well. It's a byproduct. It's something that comes after doing your job well.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important to say, hey, I'm just going to do it well. I'm going to try to honor the people that were here. If you don't put it out there, if you don't say it, if you don't, how do you expect to live up to it?
Right.
Right.
You're
That's it.
You're the one out there doing it. And I love how you touched on the people aspect, because that it doesn't matter who we have on this show. Everyone always boils it down to the people and having the right team
Right.
and the experience like you're talking about.
And I thought it was interesting because I listened to you on another podcast talking about your consultant work. And I guess you met with a chef who was just like, I need to help figuring this out
Right.
and how I balance this in family. And he was a great chef. And you said, let's pause for a second and talk about the family aspect and why are you doing this? Because we
Right.
always ask, what is your why?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. You keep tying it back to that. And the conversation was less around the operations of the business, but more, why are you doing this?
Right. I think in anything you do, and just a lot of people starting businesses, entrepreneur, whatever it is, knowing your why and then knowing your end result are two very important things, I think. And then not worrying so much about the journey to get there. I think that takes care of itself. If you know where you're going, why you're doing it, that journey is never going to be what you expect it to be. And you got to roll with those punches. We always have a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Right.
And
Mike Tyson.
life, man, punches you in the face a lot,
Mhm.
especially with COVID and this industry and all this. And it's a lot. It's a lot for the team. But so getting there is never always that straight line, but understanding that destination of where you want to be, family, financial, exit plan, whatever that is. And then, yes, it's very easy to say it's why you're doing it for the family, or why you're doing it is to be successful or to gain X amount or be a millionaire, whatever it is. And that has to be the thing that gets you there.
In your
Right.
career, what are some of those punches you've taken and how did you respond to kind of get to where you are now?
Oh man, so many punches.
Just
It's
So
hard to
bloody.
remember. You got
Beaten
concussion
us.
now.
So bloody,
You got-
yeah, just bruised. I was a young chef, super ambitious in my 20s, and nothing replaces time. I think I hire a lot of young guys with great ambition, and I think hiring them for certain roles is fantastic. But to lead a team, to cultivate culture, things that just you got to travail through things, you got to go through things to know what is truly right and wrong. And nothing really beats those experiences. Early 20s, mid 20s, I knew I wanted to be a chef. I knew I wanted Michelin stars. I knew I was going to work for some of the best chefs in the country and stage at Alinea and all these places and just associate myself with it. And I was going to push myself really hard. Pushing yourself really hard and pushing your team really hard aren't the same
Mm.
thing.
Mhm.
Not everyone's going to run the same pace or race as you. But I expected it. Wasn't always the nicest guy, and I think that was a big punch. Was like I burnt out really quick I was 28, burnt out, didn't want to do it anymore, stopped cooking for a little bit. But that step back really refocuses you.
Mhm.
I think that was a big punch for me. COVID happened. I opened and closed a few restaurants in that time
Mm.
too. It's like faith is a muscle that needs to be stretched. It needs to be strengthened. Faith in what you do, faith in why you're doing it, faith in that the end result will happen. It just it's a muscle that you need, that every time you get pushed down, you just get back up.
That's such a good lesson. I love it.
And this industry is tough. You rely on your margins are
is.
low. You rely on so many people to get it done. Uh, I don't know. You're the last one to be fed.
Yeah.
Most places are like, you got to take care of yourself first. No, I got to make sure everyone gets paid first before you even touch anything.
Yeah.
And if I went on that path I was as a young chef, I could have gotten to that goal and I could have made it. What would it? Who would I be standing on that
Right.
mountaintop with? What is the destruction I left behind? What is that legacy that I'm leaving? And every day I just, we call in Japanese is kaizen, is everyday continuous improvement by small steps, little
Love it.
by little, being better version than yesterday.
The habits.
Yeah.
The habits are so important.
Yeah. What was your best and worst day? Was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful. I love that. Those lessons. And I think what you're hitting on too underneath that is the people aspect and the legacy and community, but also I don't think people realize from the little bit I know, you're obviously a chef, world-class chef, but you're also running the businesses and a restaurateur. A lot of people do one or the other, and they don't do both.
Most chefs are not built for being restaurateurs, or most cooks who get into positions of, I was a young cook that was decent. I would say I'm a decent cook. I was decent at what I did, who they said, let's give you an opportunity. At 22 at Wolfgang, I was probably the worst manager, worst leader they had. I could just get the job done. So a lot of places don't prepare you for that next jump. You could lead yourself. I always tell, you being the best two hands in the kitchen doesn't mean anything for me. It actually is detrimental, because that means you can't lead the other 10 hands that are underneath you to give them opportunity. And who's that one person that you're pouring into to get them to your level, which takes time, patience, which sometimes it's just easier if I do it myself, right? I hate to say it. I'm always looking into that crystal ball of the future. I'd love to be someone who stays more present, but how is that helping the operation? How is that helping growth? How is that helping 2-3 months down the line if you're always the person doing it? And that was a hard thing for me. So I just go pick up an AC unit in Jacksonville and install it myself. And, I don't have to call new, and it's very admirable as to someone that's just going to do what needs to be done.
Right.
We never say at our restaurants, like, it's not my job. It's just, we do what needs to be done. It's very admirable, but teaching people how to do that job and consistently take that on and I want to take more on my plate so I can take stuff off.
For other chefs or restaurateurs out there, they're trying to decide which one they are, or if they are both, what guidance would you give them on figuring out which lane they fall in, or if they can do both?
I think they have to look into themselves. They got to look at their past or their operations now. How much of this can I do? How much of this can I hand off? And how many people have I trained, and have you duplicated yourself? Right.
Right.
My chef that's taken over Soseki for the past few years now. He's a chef de cuisine, Chef Kevin Abinella. Was pre-med. We always joke about this. He was pre-med. His father was a doctor, Filipino guy, decided not to do that.
Yep.
I had a small restaurant in a food court in a Korean supermarket. Was my first entrepreneur being my own owner. This guy comes to the food court in a supermarket in a suit and tie, wanting a job. And straight out of like Rose in hospitality. And that was 4 years ago. After less than 1 year, he joins me with Soseki, never did sushi in his life. I'm so proud to say that it's not even me. Like, I led him, yes, and taught him and continued to pour into that. But he's making his own decisions. He's putting his food out there at Soseki. Like Kevin's really shaping, and he has from the very beginning. He's been with me from the very, very beginning through all the heartache, and sees how difficult this is. But now he's running his own teams. And it's like, after 4 years to run a 1 Michelin star restaurant and to do sushi at this level tells you like the level of dedication, the craftsmanship. He's now at this point where he's just the main guy. Couldn't be prouder, but that's, so if I can find more of those, if they're out there.
Well, it's a people game, just like you were saying. That's
right.
It right there. That's
one of 10, 1 of 20, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean you have to play the odds.
Well, obviously, we're very focused on Orlando. Proud of what you've done here. You're an Orlando guy. We were talking about that earlier.
Right.
Where do you see? Obviously, you have a lot going on. Where do you see this food scene in Orlando evolving? Because it's starting to get some recognition finally, thanks to guys like yourself and others.
Oh man, it's getting so much recognition. The team at Kaya just got finalists on Jane's Beard. We've never gotten that far on Jane's Beard Awards. There's every cuisine under the sun here,
right?
And people are doing it at such a high level. I think I read last year they said over 88 new operations, documented restaurants are opening in Orlando. I think right there on Mills 50, there's like over 8 to 9 coffee shops within striking distance. So stop. It's good for you guys.
Right.
Jeez,
exactly.
man. Exactly. What else am I supposed to open here? I'm going to go into tacos soon, Like,
I think it's cool. It must be pushing you creatively, like you're kind of getting that too.
I mean, there's room for everybody. I think there's room for everybody. Everyone needs to eat at different levels. I enjoy going out with the wife. I rarely cook at home unless it's mac and cheese and chicken fingers for the kids.
They're not on the sushi game yet.
Yeah, the sushi
their
game.
palate's not there yet.
My daughter, she's eating sushi 7. She'll eat sushi on the regular.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's good. Blowfit. No, just So where's Orlando food scene going? I mean, there's just so much growth. I feel like the old man when I was, my folks, we lived off Mizell, and it's like, was that the whole area was just all orange groves. Orange groves as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
And great new restaurant groups are coming in even outside groups. Like I heard Nobu's coming in. I heard Tao groups coming in. Some pretty heavy hitters, but the homegrown guys are just killing it. There's a lot of chefs that, like I said, Chef Lo from Kaya, he was UF Gator. That's where we all met, was the Gators on the Farm project. Left, came back, and they're bringing this wealth of knowledge, and they're coming back to start families and to come back for family, and they're bringing back so many great things. So
how much collaboration is there within the community in the food scene here? Because I would, as an outsider, you would think it's a lot of competition, but you partner with Chef Lo, you're doing stuff with John Rivers, you've done stuff at Ava locally.
Right. I was
consulting
with Ava for their members club downstairs. Big group from Miami. It was fantastic. I think we get so stuck in doing our own things and being in our own boxes, and you don't get to see or recognize little holes or things of creativity that spark from just having an outside perspective, just in any industry. But you're seeing it now with Chef Tunga Camille and their restaurant group with the Tung brothers. And what they're building, they're collaborating all of their chefs internally to do big events, which is fantastic for the community. And we get to see how these two come together or collaborate with the farm project at Four Roots, with have a little play into that, not talking too much into it, but being able to collaborate with John. But we're also seeing it not just with restaurants, we're seeing it with our farmers and our growers. When we started Soseki, one of the missions was to get to every farmer's market and utilize local from the very beginning. We started Soseki at Edible Education Experience, non-for-profit farm, or I'd say garden and kitchen house.
Right.
And we started just doing pop-ups there while our space was being built. We got to utilize anything on their grounds. And so we go every week and pick whatever we could. We started with 7 farms at farmers markets, and through our efforts with Four Roots Farms, our collaboration efforts with them, now we're over 57 plus farms within the state of Florida, within a 100-mile radius. All of our dairy, milk, eggs, produce at Soseki is coming from about 85 to 90% local.
We were talking about this earlier. People don't realize, how many farms are in this area that you're able to pull from then produce that, in your restaurants. I think it seems like a foreign concept to a lot of people based on just diets in America these days and how everything's starting to change through guys like yourself. But
I got to sit in with John Rivers and Four Roots, and we're going to be collaborating in the future for projects. But to hear their vision of what they're doing with Four Roots Farm, they have a huge hydroponic and aquaponic, so that's the tilapia fish, building regenerative energy for the plant production, to go into these food-starved deserts, which is low-income areas. And it came from John. He was heavily involved in this. Where they give cans food and food banks and things like that. But everything they're giving for food banks was processed food. They don't have access to fresh lettuce. Like for a while, we were getting all our eggs from Edgewater.
Yeah,
high school. Yeah, they're growing our eggs for us through this group. So now, I guess, in the second act of my life, or second act of being a chef, it was a great accomplishment to do that. But now it's time to educate. It's time to give back. It's time to kind of get out of the 4 walls of our restaurants and really get into the community a lot more. So the collaborations with all these great groups has helped.
And the beauty about Four Roots, the new farm, is not in some random part of Osceola County. It is in the heart of Orange County.
It's very accessible. It's going to be right there in the Packing District. Four Roots Farm is going to be right there in between Princeton and Colonial, off John Young. It's already being built. If you haven't seen it, they are up and going. Lil Birdie told me there's going to be restaurants there. I can't wait to see what restaurants they put in there.
Yeah.
Restaurants and a farmers market area. So it's I hope that it becomes this hub for great gastronomy, to talk about food and wellness and health. I've been fortunate to continue to do events with them and just continue to just buy into what they're doing. It's such a big passion project. It's going to really, I think, just take Orlando's food scene to the next level.
Yeah,
Really a
absolutely.
meeting place for not just chefs, but anyone that's in the food ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Have you, just jumping kind of back in the timeline a little bit, since the Michelin star, have you seen a lot more tourism within the walls of Soseki? Because it's a local restaurant, but when I
Right.
go down Park Ave now on a Saturday, very few people are actually Floridians or from Winter Park. It's
Yeah,
a
no
lot
one
of
likes no locals like to go to Park on Saturdays.
Well, and there's like what 70+ million people coming here a year, but they
Yeah.
normally don't come here.
but now they are.
But now you're
Yeah.
giving them reasons
Yeah,
to.
I'm sorry, Winter Park people. I
It's your
am
fault.
sorry we took the veil off, okay, and now our little town, our little peacock town, is getting so much attention. Not just me, but there's so many, Brian Legamory. I mean, chef, those chefs like Ravenous Pig
Yep.
chefs and all these people.
Yep.
I mean, they're bringing amazing who've been in the game for a long time. The Michelin star definitely helped. I'm seeing a more international clientele
Mhm.
coming here. People are traveling from Brazil and China and Europe to try our sushi, which is so crazy to me, so crazy. Some of the consulting I did in Miami this Monday, I have just some guys who are taking a private jet to come here. I'll just do a private dinner for them. They just want to hang out. And I was like, so what are you guys going to do in Orlando while you're here? It's like, no, we're just coming to eat and then leave. I was like,
That's cool.
oh, that's
Amazing.
cool. I was like, thank you. It's very, very, very humbling. Yeah, I never thought that would be what we built. Very thankful and fortunate for it. But we do see just this international market. People are traveling, and if you're from Florida, getting on I-4 is like, all right, it's a big deal. We're gonna like, okay, we're gonna do this
Yeah.
thing. You got to mentally focus
Right.
yourself to get on that freeway. And people are coming from, they'll have a convention. It's like, this is my only day to come in. Is there any extra seats available? I just really want to see what's going on. And
Obviously, we've talked a little bit on it. Don't want to give away too much. You're living in the future a lot. We are
Yeah.
too. We're talking about future of Orlando. What do you see your future like? Not only next couple of years with some of these ventures, but
yeah.
down the road.
I just want to continue to build community and restaurants. We just did this restaurant. So in 1 year, we're going to do 3 restaurants, which is, it's gone already. So it's like, whatever.
Right.
If you're here at Soseki or Kada,
Yeah.
you'll see Soseki right here.
Yep.
And then we're opening a cocktail bar, pizza shop. Again, back to my roots,
Yeah,
Sbarro's, baby.
So it's a Sbarro franchise.
So I'm just franchised. Sbarro's by Mike Collantes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Can I just make it the Sbarro's? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
No, this is it's gonna be called Perlo's Pizza. It's a this was the old wine barn, pretty big space, just pizzas, open lunch and late night. We're gonna really focus on craft cocktails. Kind of what we're just really interesting cocktail program will be like a draft cocktail program in front, so you can just grab a drink and hang out, standing room, and in the back we'll have a back area that's gonna be more super craft cocktail where it's like sit down only. And then we're working out this vinyl record component where we really want to bring in like just old school vinyl records and have that kind of feel
Very
to
cool.
it. So
Wow.
you're non-traditional. Everyone's asked me. I just Fayed from Orlando Weekly asked like, what kind of pizzas will you be doing here? And they, there's New York, and you're doing Neapolitan,
Right.
you're doing Detroit, which is really good. I'm like, this is Florida Man pizza. I'm coining it right now. I need to put Florida Man pizza. It's audacious, and
Did you have a banana pizza?
That's what I was gonna say.
I did.
Which
banana
is
pizza. It's gonna make
crazy.
Italian grandmothers. I'm gonna get a lot of angry emails. We actually had this brand during COVID and closed it, but our signature thing was bananas on pizza, which it sounds weird. It worked. I
I
promise.
see it.
Like now it's like legit. Yeah, Michelin star chef. And I show
Yeah. Do people just eat something else? Like, I don't know, Mike made it. Like, it's gonna be good.
Well, they're like, it's so silly. I have to try it. So in the 90s, there was this cartoon on Nickelodeon called Doug, and
Yep.
they had an episode where they put
Doug.
bananas.
I forgot.
Yeah, they put bananas on pizza. The banana fell into pizza sauce, and they tried it and they liked it. I'm in high school or whatever. I was like, this is legit. I was
Wow.
like, so I've been doing it ever since. So I said, if I ever open a pizza spot, I'm doing it. We reverse engineered it to be just the super delicious pepperoni, calabrese peppers, and then these sweet. Everyone's like, oh, plantains. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm talking like bananas.
Like straight up.
Straight up
Epic.
bananas.
Bringing Doug to life.
And then we'll have one of the pizzas we're working on is like elotes pizza, the El Luchador. So it's roasted corn,
Mm-hmm.
scallions, Mexican cheese, tahini, all that. Yeah.
Wow.
So are you a pro pineapple guy then? If you're throwing banana on pizza?
The pizza that we had at the other restaurant is called Nobody Likes Pineapple Pizza.
Okay.
And it was pineapple jam, bacon, and pickled jalapeno. So I will take all the things that pizza shouldn't be.
Yep.
And if you have any suggestions, they should
Okay.
text it to you, and I will make it delicious.
Absolutely.
When I went to New York recently to open up Sushi St. New York, everyone has this penne alla vodka pizza. So
Mhm.
penne pasta on a pizza.
Mm.
It's like, so okay, we're gonna make a mom spaghetti, man. We're gonna make M&M's mom spaghetti,
Yes.
penne alla vodka pizza with meatballs on it. And so like that, like I just want to have fun with it. Like,
Wow.
yeah, you can get your normal slices everywhere else, man.
But that's
come here.
not Florida Man pizza.
It's not Florida Man pizza. Maybe we'll put gator on the pizza too. Like
There
gator
you
sausage. Yeah,
That'd
I
be
love it.
awesome.
yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have to write that down after this podcast. Gator sausage sounds
Oh,
pretty cool.
we'll remind you. We got you.
I came for that gator pizza.
You guys
Yeah.
got to partner with Freehand Goods and make a
Oh,
There you go.
Florida Man pizza shirt.
Florida
Mhm.
Man pizza shirt. We've partnered with them on a few things. They've built our menus, our leatherback menus
Really?
for us. Like,
Awesome.
yeah. And so that's something. Our plateware is made by Jeremy Bates, local ceramic maker. He makes all of those here locally, and
Oh, cool.
just such a great guy. He'll just show up and say, "Hey, I just made something. Do you guys want it? Like, take it. We'll take it."
Right.
That's the community part. It's so
That's-
cool to see.
That's what we've been doing. Our flowers here are done by Pick Me Up Flower Company. They've just a great husband and wife couple that started it in COVID. We found them at the Four Roots Farmers Market, and we're
Yeah.
like, Kevin was just getting bouquets of flowers for them as we opened Soseki, and then we invited them to come in and said, "Hey, there's a specific style of arrangements called ikebana,
Hmm.
Japanese flower arrangements, where it's like
Hmm.
minimalistic. Do you think you could do it? Give them a shot." Rebecca and Dale started doing it, and next thing you know, I'm like, every restaurant I have them curating all of our flowers and doing all of our design work for that.
Yeah.
And it came out of just a side hustle for them and a passion project. And they are just some of my favorite people, spend Thanksgiving together and
Oh, wow.
feed the homeless on Thanksgiving together at Sushi Saint. And it's just like, they are salt of the earth, wonderful people that will go to your restaurant or to your office, and it literally changes the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
They are people that when with their flowers and what they bring, they change the atmosphere. And I don't know, it's just something so beautiful about seeing them every single week. So we change all of our arrangements every single week.
Wow.
And based on seasonality we get to let them create.
That's the attention to detail too, that,
Yeah.
you're bringing to every piece of it that people might not even realize, but they get the full experience. And
Right.
I mean, I don't even think we touched on this too, is if you kind of can unpack what omakase is and what it means. And
Yeah. So omakase in the last couple of years has gotten super, super popular, but truly what omakase means is like, leave it to the chef.
Right.
So it's an experience where you get no menu and you just you're forced to eat whatever the chef has for you. And there is that in the European sense of tasting menus.
Mm-hmm.
But you could choose your tasting menu. You could look through it and see but usually you trust the chef to pick whatever's the freshest, whatever is the best fish of the season. Some of the most interesting things we do here, everyone's like, I love catching a fresh fish and cutting right into it. Well, when you cut into a fresh fish, you don't really taste anything. It tastes very neutral and
Yeah.
firm because the fish hasn't gone through rigor mortis. I don't know if you guys are fishermen here, but do you guys fish?
Yeah.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah. So fish doesn't go through rigor mortis, and then you don't have the enzymes breaking down the muscles to build umami or deliciousness.
Okay.
You need the fish to break down its proteins so that it starts to develop flavor, not to the point of where it gets spoiled. What we do at Soseki, and it's becoming very popular now. I see that a lot of places is dry aging fish. To do it well is really hard. It took us a year of R&D before we were dry aging fish from the very beginning, and then dry aging fish before we opened Soseki. just to get us ready to actually launch the program. So you might have fish, especially tuna, that goes up to 21 to 25 days.
Really?
And every fish is different. But what we're looking for is like around that 8 to 11% moisture loss. And what you find, like when we get up to like 30 days on a tuna, it cuts like prosciutto. Like
Wow.
there's so much moisture that's out of it. When you cut it and your hand is just filled with this beautiful fat, like you would of like a beautiful ham. And the texture changes and it's rich and it doesn't smell of anything. It smells less fishy than fish. That's when you knew you it well. And then I've gotten sick from other places. and then there's sometimes when we go to 40 days and we're like, this is disgusting.
Right.
Let's never do that again or serve it to our guests. But
man, I'm getting hungry just hearing about it.
It's really interesting program that we do there. And I think that's what makes it really intentional is right now we're at 100% wild caught Japanese fish. That's unheard of a program. And I started getting into like an event we're doing in November. It's called Hook and Harvest.
Yeah.
Hook and Harvest started out from just a fan who was who fishes, and she's like, "I'd love for you to come out and let's do an event together." So we're like, okay, we're gonna go to Guatemala, or we're going to a fishing lodge. So fishing lodge,
Right.
for 3 days, fish all day. I do a couple demos of fish cooking and technique and this process called ikejime. And Allison is she runs Ikejime Florida, and basically it's a way to preserve the fish to stay fresh longer. So you take a stainless steel rod and you shove it up to the membrane and the nervous system and stops and then bleed it out, and you could hold the freshness. The quality of it is so different from and her what she's really trying to do is show commercial fishermen, hey, you can do this. The product's better, and this is the way that all Japanese fish is processed in Japan.
Wow.
In Japan.
Interesting.
And so she's really an advocate for that. I partnered with her. So Ikejime, Florida, Hook and Harvest. We go down to Guatemala. We fish for sailfish, tunas, and just basically fish all day, eat really good at night, smoke cigars, and play poker.
Yeah. How do we
Great.
go?
I don't know how I got my wife to agree to let me go the second
Right.
time around, but it's out in November. We just posted
Okay.
tickets for it. It's
Dang.
super fun. And you get to just hang out with me and just like
Yeah, we
talk
might have to
story
be
and-
there.
talk story and chill. Yeah. And then everything's included, and especially the alcohol. So it's
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
If our wives
a
are
rough-
watching, we're going.
yeah. It's a rough weekend for sure.
Yeah.
But I do love, me and Kevin, we love fishing. So we do a lot of those. And then later this year in October, this is a really cool. So what did Michelin do for us is just really afford some recognition. Not that it's due. I think everyone is, whether you're Michelin rated or not, there's a lot of people just doing great food. But we're very fortunate that it opened a lot of doors, and I'm kind of the opportunist that would just walk through those doors,
Right.
Right.
go on a TV show or do whatever. So Sea Cloud Cruises is something we're doing in October. It's the largest 100-person sailboat cruise liner. So they actually drop the sails, and it's just
Wow.
this old school cruise. I mean, I've never been on a sailboat, and then to do it with 100 people, like just, I don't know, just hope it's not like Titanic moment, but it's just these gorgeous vessels out of Germany. Benjamin, our Psalm, myself, and Chef Kevin are going to go out there in October, take over a week in, I think we start in Nice, we go to Corsica,
Wow.
Marseille, and in Barcelona. 1 week of just, hopefully you don't get sick of us. I know already a few of our guests are coming to it, and we're going to do a couple events and also excursions, and I get to just go out and explore food. I
cool
told
is
them
that?
already we got to pull a whole tuna up from the Mediterranean, so we're working on that right now. So we're just gonna,
Okay. I want to go on that too.
That was that one you could bring the wives. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole new experience. I mean, I don't think those kitchens have to be outfitted. I mean, those things aren't the smoothest at times.
We're gonna
That's gonna be
see
difficult.
I almost always get sick every time I fish. Like I just get,
Yeah.
I just can't take, the motion sickness, but we'll push through. Yeah. And those aren't big cruises, right? Cruises, they're
Right.
like 100
Yeah.
people. So it's We'll see if I'm.
Dang.
Yeah.
When they drop those sales, you'll be.
Well, I think it's good. I mean, where we're going,
Yeah.
like in the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
it's like chill water and stuff. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I
that's
saw
true.
videos of these Sea Cloud cruises with the sails down, and it's just, I mean, it's incredible. It's
Awesome.
it's like picturesque.
Yeah.
And to be like, who am I to? Yeah, I'm just a Florida boy, like, to
You're-
go out there and do it.
You're figuring it out. That's how you travel the world.
I don't
and
know
see
if
the
I'm figuring it
world
out,
and-
but
Sounds like you are.
I'll shoot the shot. I'll
Yeah.
shoot the shot for sure. And
Yeah.
you never know what that leads to. Like and I think that's really important. Like, yeah, thinking future too, and always having like taking opportunities that come. I don't, yeah, you care what people think and all this stuff, but you gotta try. You gotta try.
Absolutely.
So-
You're proof of that, and we're excited for everything you have coming up, and you keep shooting your shot, and we'll keep
Thank
following
you.
along. And
Yeah,
thanks for doing this today.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
appreciate you on such a big day. We're honored
Yeah.
to be here.
Come back around tonight. I think it's like free champagne and everything. So
Awesome.
Absolutely.
come through tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Cool.